let's turn back the clock all the way back to 1990. And this car, the Tata Sierra, India's first SUV. Launched in 1991, it was a giant leap for Tata Motors and the Indian car industry. Now, this was born from something that was called the 207, Tata's pickup truck, or Tata Engineering and Locomotive Company's pickup truck. The 207 Telco line Tata Mobile, it had many names, but this particular SUV was the brainchild of Ratan Tata. He envisioned its three-door format, that large alpine glass, and the unique position it had as India's first SUV, as well as a comfortable, luxurious car, another first for an Indian car maker. Then in 1997 came this car, the Sierra Turbo. And you could tell because it had these wheel arches that popped out, different headlights, and of course a turbocharged engine. More power, a bit more performance, and it was a bit nicer and more comfortable on the inside. Now after 35 years, we have this car, the new Sierra, our 2026 Autocar India Car of the Year. So come with us as we celebrate these cars by driving from Pune, where the original was conceived and built, all the way to Sanand, where the new Sierra is built today in Tata's high-tech plant. As part of the journey, we'll take a look at what makes the original Sierra so special, some of the secrets behind how it was conceived, what it's like on a long road trip, and how the Sierra DNA has been carried forward onto the current car. Now first up, let's see where these vehicles were produced. That's the Yodha still being made here. And to help us with those memories, I have someone really special who's sort of seen it from the beginning. You've been here before. How many years ago was it?
I don't know. I think maybe 38 years or
Wow.
37 years. It's amazing coming here. So really takes me down memory lane. And really the Yodha is, really follows the lineage
Of the 207.
of the 207, the Tata Mobile, ladder frame, pickup, front engine, rear wheel drive.
That's what the Sierra came from.
Exactly. And I think the Sierra really is, I have just so many memories with this car.
In fact, I think you drove this car for the Himalayan Rally route survey, right?
Absolutely. 4,000 kilometers in a Sierra, which included Mumbai to Delhi drive, and then about 2 weeks in the Himalayas doing the route survey. Phenomenal experience. I think probably a super comfortable vehicle, the most comfortable vehicle we could have gone in.
Now, Mr. Tata was a good friend of yours, and he had a huge personal involvement with this car.
Ratan Tata, he loved the American cars. So I think the Chevy Blazer, one of the cars that influenced the design. But I think what Ratan Tata told me very honestly, that these cars were all what he called bridge products. These were his very words. So I think really it was the transition from a truck maker getting into passenger cars. So this was the bridge between trucks and the Indy car. It was quite a crude car. It had reliability issues, all part of the learning curve. Really, I think, the way it was executed in terms of what it was supposed to be, an SUV, I think it fitted that brief brilliantly.
And also, of course, the foresight to do a product like this as your first product, straight away a modern car, and that transition from the pickup, and look where they are today.
Absolutely. Look where they are today with this Sierra. I think it's just amazing to see that transition and the jump.
Time to head out, but what we didn't expect were line managers who'd been there since the time of the Sierra. We built these cars, they told us, and then proceeded to tell us a whole host of stories. We caught up with Chief Product Officer or CPO Mohan Savarkar. What a journey it's been from that naturally aspirated diesel, then the turbo diesel, and like you reminded me, no emission norm, to this car finally. So tell us some of the challenges that were involved with this particular engine.
So at that time, around the world, when diesel used to be the norm for cars of this size. So we also started with diesel. And by the way, being from the truck industry, diesel was quite natural to us. So at that time, we used to have this normally aspirated DI engines.
Direct injection.
So they used to have a lot of troubles. For example, low-end torque used to be quite low. The horsepower that time was just 70. Can you imagine? Just 70. And with that, we were supposed to run such a heavy car. So there were a lot of challenges in terms to make it work itself. And then, of course, there was nothing like emission norm From then, we have graduated so much. We are already BS6 phase 2 in this. So on the engine side, a lot has improved. We have gone from DI to something called indirect injection, then back to direct injection, and along with that turbocharging. Now this is common rail direct injection, which uses 1600 bar, maybe more, depending on which engine we are speaking about. So a lot has happened since that. So, and it's been a great journey. Now, for example, our diesel engines with 1.5 liter itself can do 115, 120 PS. Okay, so at that time, this used to be a 2 liter engine and used to do just 70.
So we finally left Pune. We got a bit of traffic on the way out because we'd left late. Out on the road to Narayangaon. It's a beautiful road. The light is fantastic and we're taking the opportunity to take some beauty shots of these cars. Also up ahead at Narayangaon is what is India's largest radio telescope. So here we are at Narayangaon. The drive from Pune was a bit difficult. We had a lot of traffic, but we finally made it here before sunset, just before sunset, and I can tell you it's well worth it. Narayangaon has the world's largest array of meter wave telescopes, 30 massive dishes that work in sync and collect radio waves from faraway galaxies. There's a Tata connection here too. The site is operated by NCRA, part of the Tata Institute for Fundamental Research. The next morning we get onto the road to Gujarat. So we're on the road out of Nasik and today's leg is a long one. The first part we'll go through Saputara and then the Purna Wildlife Sanctuary. That will lead us to the border of Gujarat, and after we cross we'll go into Navsari, which was the birthplace of Jamshedji Tata, who was the founder of the Tata Group. There's a little museum there, so we're going to check that out, and then we'll carry on to Bharuch. This will give us a good combination of old roads, new highways and some scenic route as well. Now the new Sierra is proving to be a great highway companion. It's smooth, it's refined, it's easygoing, it rides well, so you enjoy covering long distances. Another thing that gets me smiling is that this car has grown up. Like the Harrier and the Safari, the Sierra also has a sort of big car feel to it. It feels wide, large and behaves like a larger car. And that's especially on these highway roads. Then we cross the Gujarat border. Up the road, I climb into the back of the original Sierra. The alpine windows are wide, tall, panoramic, and the view is just breathtaking. So in the back of the original Sierra, and absolutely, this car is just so charming. Lots of space here, loads of space. The seat height is just right, good support. The backrest angle is excellent, but the big thing here are these massive alpine windows. I can see all the way from this angle here to the back, on this side as well. And the real unique bit is this curved piece of glass on the top that lets me look straight up. We pass a section of trees, the sun glinting off the tops, and they look amazing. A drive over Himalayan passes, anyone? The Sierra Club guys have already done that. Now many of you will comment that I'm not wearing a seatbelt in the back, but the fact remains that this car originally never came with rear seatbelts. They were only added to the export Sierras. And then where would you mount that 3-point seatbelt? Not on the glass for sure. Time for a quick DNA test. Can the new Sierra deliver something similar? So in the back of the new Sierra now, and yes, it does feel open and airy and spacious, especially because of this massive sunroof here. These big windows do help, but they're not quite the same as those Alpine windows on the first gen Sierra. They were something else. But that feeling of open airiness, the comfort at the back, the seat comfort, the way it's put together, it feels really luxurious. Some of the trimmings here, especially how they've done this seat back, it's pretty good.
Cool features include a soundbar up front, sun visors that are adjustable, sun blinds for the rear, a boss seat function, and of course ambient lighting. At Navsari, we pause. The Tata family's roots are here.
So we're here in Navsari, which is halfway between Pune and Sanand, almost exactly halfway. And we're here at the birthplace of Jamshedji Tata, the founder of the group. He came from a priestly family and went on to found one of India's largest industrial business groups. Let's take a look on the inside.
Priests by tradition, a little known fact is that around 60% of the capital of Tata companies is owned by charitable trusts and not family members. It's been this way for more than 100 years.
So in Bharuch, our final day, we're on the way to Sanand and we're having a breakfast stop here. That here is khaman with a bit of dal. And of course, since it's Bharuch, I have some peanuts with me. Now earlier yesterday we drove into Gujarat and it was pretty clear. You could see the change of language at the border and there was something of a checkpost. But there is another way to tell that you've driven into Gujarat. It's the roads. And it's not just the design of the roads or how large they are, it's the surface to be specific. Billiard table smooth, very few potholes, very few bad patches, incredible. So we just exited Bharuch and climbed up onto the National Expressway 4 or NE4 and are headed in the direction of Sanand. Now NE4 is a 4-lane expressway and to make the driving experience a bit more relaxed, I'm using the ADAS and the cruise control together. The lane departure warning is keeping the car within the lane. I've set the cruise control at 120, which is the limit for this road, and I basically just need to monitor and see what's going on.
And driving the old Sierra is a reminder of how far we've come. 34 years to be precise.
Now before I got in behind the wheel here, I was pretty clear that this car is going to be an absolute pain to drive. But when you're cruising along and you're allowing the bottom end of this diesel engine to pull you, it's running pretty well. Acceleration isn't its forte, but it's chugging along pretty nicely and you can keep up with traffic quite well, which comes as a bit of a surprise and does explain why people love taking long drives in these cars. Being an indirect injection diesel, there isn't too much clatter either and it isn't too sharp the sound, so that's pretty surprising as well.
Calling it flat-footed is mild. It takes 33 seconds to do 100 from rest. Performance aside, the Sierra rides really well. There's loads of space and the bucket seats are comfortable even today. The brakes, well, they need a bit of planning. While the first Sierra was similar under the hood to the 207 pickup, the leaf spring rear suspension was changed to coil springs. Launched in 1997, this is a car I remember testing clearly. Let's see if you can hear the turbo.
And after a long pause, a whoosh from under the bonnet and a whistling sound, we get some real performance.
It was considerably quicker too, 10 seconds faster, 0 to 100 taking 22 seconds. That's still slow by today's standards, but quick enough back in the day. This particular car also gets a very tall elbow box, which clearly is an aftermarket fitting.
Tata had also improved the steering and the suspension, and this car felt a bit more agile and compact and less boat-like than the naturally aspirated one. So while that was India's first SUV, this probably was India's first turbocharged SUV. This car also got a new 5-speed gearbox. The dogleg gearbox from that car replaced by a more standard H pattern of 5-speed with the reverse to the left and the front.
It even got twin rear wipers. We stopped for a bit to look at how the original design has inspired the new Sierra.
So the essence of the Sierra design, now that we have both of them together, is the strong C and B pillar. Really nice and bulky, chunky, and of course with that alpine window right in the center. Now this car also has a pretty strong shoulder line that you'll see also on the other car, and of course wheel arches for the SUV. Let's transition to the current car. Now here too, this B pillar is nice and chunky, and it's been made wider and stronger on the suggestion of Mr. Tata, Mr. Ratan Tata, who saw the early drawings of this car. The single panoramic window, or that alpine window, you can't have that today because this car has a rear door. So what they've done is they've given it this black rollover. That's metal, this is glass, but it gives you the impression of having that big window in the back. And of course no chunky D pillar or C pillar here. So this beautifully done, cut out with the spoiler and the wraparound glass. Looks pretty neat. It's why people keep staring at this car on the road. It's both modern and traditional. That's what makes it so fantastic.
Also, please note the original Sierra's tall windscreen versus the new car's highly raked one. The Tata logo on the bonnet is different on both cars, and let's not forget the name of the company was different too. Tata Engineering and Locomotive versus Tata Motors. And yes, the company started by making locomotives. Now let's take a look on the inside, especially the dashboards.
So the interior of the Sierra, and in 1990, 1991, this was such a revelation. Completely molded plastic, nice hooded binnacle for the instrument cluster. Of course, a lot of Mercedes influences here, especially for the gauges. Grey, white numbers, very iconic. This steering as well, very Tata, and this is the old Tata logo right in the center. The gearbox here was a dog leg first. It was an old racing concept where you use first gear and you take it out of the normal age. So that's first, and then second, third, fourth and fifth are in the age. So really cool looking interior. And of course it was also the car that had a lot of firsts. That was a power steering, power windows here. The doors are power locks. So a lot of kit right from the beginning, and you can say Tata was a pioneer of loading up a vehicle fully. Even when they had their Safari later, they did the similar thing. What this car also had was plenty of space and comfort. These seats are still comfortable today. They're nice and large, hold you well, and there's good support and plenty of space.
The new Sierra's cabin is a different world. Screens everywhere, a 10.25-inch instrument panel and 12.3-inch touchscreen and passenger display.
And the new Sierra carries on that tradition of giving a lot of kit. There is, for example, a sound bar here, the rear blinds at the back, terrain response mode here, and a lot of other kit, including this massive panoramic sunroof that sort of gives that glassy, airy feel to the rear. And it's not just a kit. The way this is put together beautifully with expensive looking and feeling materials, especially the dash, the speaker, that bar here, the manner in which this is all put together, it really does feel more luxurious and comfort oriented, and that's exactly what the original Sierra was.
So in many ways the ethos remains. The Sierra is always about being forward looking.
So on the last leg, we're 28 kilometers from Sanand, from the plant, from the Tata Motors plant, and we're driving through Ahmedabad, the outskirts of Ahmedabad, and onto the Sanand road.
Then after a long trudge across Ahmedabad, we finally see the gates of the plant.
So here we are finally driving into the Sanand plant, and this probably is the first time the two original Sierras are coming into this plant, and that marks the transition from Pune to Sanand, from the original Sierra and the turbo after it to this new one and everything that follows on this car, on this platform. So here we are at Sanand. Finally, we've come to the place where this new car is made, this new Sierra. You can see it in the background, the cars going on the line. And we've come all the way from Pune, from J Block, where these cars are made, the Sierra, the OG Sierra, and this one, the Turbo.
And here's something incredible. The original Sierra and the Sierra Turbo made it without skipping a beat. Not a single problem. A massive thank you to the Sierra Group Pune for coming all the way with us to Sanand and for driving back. We spoke to Sierra owners Ajinkya Kadam and Krunal Ghodke.
We have 25 Sierras in a group in Pune. So we started this group in around 2018 and slowly adding people as we saw them on the road with the Sierra. So we would stop them and add them in our group. And we have drives in around 3 to 4 months in and around Pune.
And how do owners get parts today?
Plastic parts, it is a little difficult for the interiors and stuff. So, but the mechanical parts for the engine gearbox, they are shared, most of them are shared with the Safari, Sumo, even the 207. So that is not much of an issue.
People still look at the car, they stop and look, they shoot the car. People don't look at the Mercedes, but they look at the Sierra.
What a journey! What a story! Have to say, Tata has used the story of the OG Sierra effectively. But let's get some insights from someone who's been there at the sharp end.
I'm speaking with Vivek Shrivats, who's the Chief Commercial Officer after a long journey with the Sierra.
Hi Shapur.
Hi. Now talking about the Sierra, it's been such a long journey and a big break in the middle. But how do you think people remember the brand so well? Why is there so much love for it? What's your take on that?
I think it was like we discussed internally, it was the first product in India which showed that a car could be more than just a means of mobility. It was a real statement.
Absolutely.
I would say it was the first injection of lifestyle into automotive category way back then, and what an injection it was, right from the ads, the body style was like nothing seen before. So I think to everybody born in the 70s, 80s, it's remained in their memory. But what's also fascinating is how the current generation also, kind of looks back at that with a lot of, passion and excitement. And I think that's what has worked well for us.
It was a difficult decision to use it in the TVC so much, so strongly, the old car.
See, it was a balance we had to strike, There's no doubt that there's a strong legacy, but it's not just about the legacy, it's right. So that's why we had to balance it out. We used it in the TVC. It is an ode to the old car. It is also to say that we are anchored in that sensibility, but we have moved forward and modernized. So I think we managed to balance it out well, ride on the legacy a little bit, but not entirely on that, and then give it the reality check of today. Yeah.
Okay. And, looking back, you had some bit of Mr. Tata's involvement in this vehicle. Tell us some, personal insights on that,
I mean, even for me, to be honest, it is a little bit hearsay because this happened, the B pillar, something I know of, I can be very sure about that.
Yeah.
His insistence on the comfort on the second row was very important because that was something which was renowned in the old Sierra. It was like a couch.
Absolutely.
So the space you see there and the entire packaging is again because of the insistence on the OG Sierra. So these are two things, and I'll definitely give credit to Mr. Tata. Yeah.
What a story it is for the Sierra brand, starting all those years ago and then a big gap to the new Sierra. It's a reminder that cars are not just about the metal and electronics in them. It's also about emotions, it's about design, it's about stories. And what a story the Sierra has. I'm sure Mr. Tata is looking down and smiling.